Joanna. We know you've spoken with the baptizer.
John, something's happening. John, there's a plot. They're going to kill you.
The Chosen Season 6 is almost here, and it's not the story we're ready for. It's the one we've feared since the beginning. Jesus is arrested. The crucifixion is coming. And in this new season, we return to the darkest hours of his journey. The trailer for Season 6 has arrived, and it confirms what we've been dreading. This is the moment where everything begins to fall apart. But as the enemies of Christ rise, something else returns Judas. And with him, a question that tears at the hearts of everyone watching. Did he regret it? Or was it always too late? The Chosen Season 6 is no longer a distant idea. It's real. It's raw, and it's almost upon us. After the massive success of Season 5 in theaters and the huge distribution deal with Amazon Prime, we now have our first official look at Season 6. And what it reveals is nothing short of heartbreaking. The trailer doesn't waste time. It picks up right where we left off. Judas' betrayal is no longer a looming threat. It's already happened. Jesus has been taken. The apostles are scattered, broken, and in hiding. And from this moment forward, there is no turning back. The trailer doesn't give everything away, but it gives enough to let us know this will be the most emotional season of The Chosen yet. For years, Dallas Jenkins promised a 7-season arc, a full journey through the ministry, death, and resurrection of Jesus. Season 6 is the tipping point. It carries the weight of prophecy, pain, and purpose. This season will walk us through the agony of injustice, the silence of heaven, and the chaos of those final hours before the crucifixion. It's no longer just a story about miracles. It's about sacrifice, about loss, about the greatest act of love the world has ever seen and the price it demanded. What makes The Chosen so powerful is that it doesn't rush through these moments. It breathes through them. It lets us sit with the heartbreak. And Season 6, more than any before, it forces us to sit in the sorrow. We already know how Season 5 ended, with Jesus accepting his fate and Judas sealing it. But the trailer now shows what happens in the immediate aftermath. Roman soldiers, angry mobs, political pressure mounting. And yet through it all, there's something strangely peaceful about Jesus' face. As if he knows this has to happen. As if he's prepared. But are we? Are the apostles? Peter, who once swore to die for him, now afraid. John, broken, Mary, weeping. Matthew trying to make sense of a story that feels like it's falling apart, and yet it's all part of the plan. And then comes the most unexpected twist in the trailer. Judas. Yes, he appears again. The man who kissed Jesus in the garden doesn't vanish from the narrative. He returns haunted, shattered, and full of regret. The trailer doesn't say whether we'll see a redemption arc, but it shows enough to let us know that The Chosen isn't done with Judas yet. And maybe that's what makes this show so powerful. It doesn't give up on broken people, not even the one who betrayed the Son of God. But what about the fans? What should we expect in terms of tone pacing and storytelling? Based on the trailer, Season 6 will be darker than anything we've seen before. But it's not darkness for the sake of drama, it's darkness with purpose. The Chosen has never been about shock. It's been about truth. And the truth is, these next few episodes will lead us through betrayal, trial, torture, and death. But as Dallas Jenkins once said, the darker the night, the brighter the morning. So while Season 6 might leave us shaken, it will also prepare us for the light that comes in Season 7, the resurrection. Right now, we don't have an exact release date, but if production stays on track, Season 6 is expected to premiere in early 2026. And with Amazon MGM now involved, the release could be bigger than ever. Not only on Prime Video, but with possible theatrical runs again, so fans can experience the heartbreak together in silence, in awe, and maybe even in tears. Season 6 isn't just another chapter, it's the chapter, the one where love bleeds. The one where hope is crushed before it rises. And for those of us who've followed this journey since 2017, we knew this moment would come. But we didn't know it would feel like this. The tension in The Chosen Season 6 is not just in what happens. Next, it's in what we know must happen. From the moment Judas walked away in Season 5, we've been holding our breath. But now with the trailer confirming Jesus' arrest, the story shifts into unfamiliar territory. This isn't the teacher walking on water or healing the blind. This is the lamb being led to the slaughter, and it changes everyone. Peter is no longer the bold fisherman. We see a man collapsing under the weight of shame, haunted by the words he swore he'd never speak. I do not know him. The trailer hints at the devastating moment of Peter's denial, and though we've read it in Scripture, The Chosen promises to show us the raw human agony behind those words. And that's what this series does so well. It doesn't just show us events, it shows us the people caught inside them. This season, more than any other, will explore fear. Real soul-crushing fear. Not just from the disciples, but from the people of Jerusalem too. You can feel the city trembling. In the trailer, torn between hope and hatred, between prophecy and politics. Caiaphas and the Sanhedrin are preparing their moment. They believe they've won. Pilate, introduced in Season 5, returns with cold calculation. And Herod, a man too weak to rule, but too proud to back down. These men are not just villains, they are players in a prophecy. And the chilling thing is they don't even realize it. Every move they make to silence Jesus is a step toward fulfilling the very scriptures they deny. But in the middle of all this chaos, we get glimpses of something deeper. Quiet, painful moments between those who followed Jesus and now feel utterly lost without him. Mary Magdalene, who once found her purpose in his eyes, now searches for meaning in his absence. John the Beloved watches helplessly as the man he loves is dragged away. And James and Thaddeus, those quieter voices, now have to decide what discipleship means when the miracles stop. There's a moment in the trailer barely 2 seconds long where Thomas collapses to his knees in the shadows. No words, just grief. That's what Season 6 will be, a season of grief. But it's the kind that strips everything away until only faith is left. And Judas, Judas. His return in the trailer is perhaps the most shocking of all. Not because he comes back physically, but because we see him break. The face of betrayal now stained with tears. The silver no longer matters. The kiss has been given. And now we're left with the question, was it worth it? The Chosen is not content to write Judas off as a monster. It's showing us a man flawed, deceived, desperate, and maybe someone who thought he was helping. That's the tragedy, that's the heartbreak. That's what makes his story impossible to ignore. Whether or not Season 6 gives us closure on Judas, one thing is certain, his ghost will linger over every episode, but even in this darkness, glimmers of hope break through. Nicodemus, long absent, is rumored to return. Rumors swirl about Joseph of Arimathea stepping forward. And there are hints, subtle, almost hidden, that some characters outside the 12 may step into the light. The women especially. Mary, the mother of Jesus, is shown only briefly in the trailer, but her face says everything. She knows where this road leads. She's known since Bethlehem, and now she must walk it to the end. This is no longer just about Jesus. This is about everyone who followed him, and whether they still will now that the cost is unbearable. The trailer for Season 6 doesn't show the crucifixion yet, but it shows everything leading up to it. And in that way, it's even more powerful. Because we all know what's coming. We all feel the weight, and the Chosen wants us to carry it. Not just as viewers, but as believers, as doubters, as people who've had moments of betrayal and fear and silence. Season 6 is not asking for our applause. It's asking for our hearts. What makes The Chosen Season 6 truly terrifying isn't just the arrest or even the looming cross. It's the silence, the kind that creeps in after the shouting fades. The trailer captures it in fragments, disciples hiding behind locked doors. The streets of Jerusalem quiet, but tense, and the echo of Jesus' voice no longer heard. That silence, it's not peaceful. It's heavy. It's the sound of a world unraveling. And for the disciples, this is a crisis unlike anything they've ever faced. They gave up everything to follow him, and now he's gone, taken, betrayed. The miracles they witnessed, the sermons they clung to, they all feel like distant memories. Season 6 is the moment where belief is tested by absence, and in that absence, fear grows. But not everyone is silent. The religious leaders are louder than ever-twisting narratives, rushing trials, feeding off the chaos they helped ignite. The Sanhedrin is no longer divided. They are united in their determination to crush Jesus once and for all. The trailer shows glimpses of mockery, false witnesses, and whispered lies in dark corridors. And it also shows Pilate trying to navigate the politics of a trial he never wanted. He looks uneasy, worn down, because deep down even Rome senses something is different about this man. This isn't just another rebel. This isn't just another crucifixion. Pilate sees it. Herod feels it. And even the guards, the ones ordered to strike spit and drag, pause for just a second too long, as if something inside them knows this man is innocent. Meanwhile, the disciples are scattered. Some run, some watch from a distance, and some try to fight back. But this isn't a battle that can be won with swords. Peter learns that the hard way. The trailer hints at his infamous outburst, cutting off the servant's ear. But more importantly, it shows what comes after. The fear, the regret. The crushing moment, he locks eyes with Jesus as the guards drag him away. That look, it's everything. Peter was ready to die for Jesus, but now he doesn't know how to live without him. And what about the others? Thomas, already shaken by grief in season 5, seems paralyzed. Matthew, once the most logical of them all, now has to face a truth that defies reason. Simon the Zealot, trained for battle, finds himself powerless, and John watches. Records feels it all. The trailer shows him standing in the shadows, hands clenched, eyes wide. He's trying to be brave. But how do you stay brave when your Messiah is beaten and bound? Yet amid the chaos, something else stirs. Small flickering moments of resistance. Not violent rebellion, but acts of quiet courage. Veronica pressing through. The crowd. Joseph of Arimathea negotiating behind closed doors. Women preparing burial spices before the body is even dead. These aren't just characters following orders. They're believers clinging to hope in a hopeless world. And that's where The Chosen shines brightest. It doesn't give us perfect heroes. It gives us broken ones. People who don't always understand what's happening, but who refuse to walk away. And then there's Judas. His shadow looms over every frame. He's not gone. Not yet. The trailer shows him walking alone, the bag of silver clutched tight, his eyes hollow. He's haunted, regret is setting in. But the damage is done. And maybe the most painful part is that no one knows. The other disciples still think he's one of them, still trust him, still wait for him to return. And when he does, it's not with answers. It's with the weight of the world on his shoulders. This is what makes season 6 so devastating. It's not just the story of Jesus suffering, it's the story of what happens to the people around him when everything falls apart. Faith is easy when the crowds cheer, but what happens when the crowds scream for blood? That's what The Chosen is asking. And that's why this season will hurt. Because it holds up a mirror, not just to the disciples, but to us. When it all breaks down, will we still believe? The trial of Jesus in The Chosen season 6 will not be a fair trial. It never was meant to be. What's coming is a show of power manipulation and fear disguised as justice. The trailer offers haunting flashes. Jesus, standing before the Sanhedrin, eyes swollen from the beatings, blood dried on his face, and yet there is still peace in his expression. He speaks few words, but they carry weight. Even as false witnesses twist his teachings, even as the high priest tears his robe in rage, Jesus doesn't argue, he doesn't beg, he doesn't defend himself, because he knows this isn't a loss. It's a plan, and every moment of humiliation is part of the path to something greater. But the disciples, they can't see that yet. All they see is their rabbi being destroyed, step by painful step, and they're powerless to stop it. And then he's taken to Pilate. The Roman governor, who never wanted to get involved, now finds himself caught between a mob and a mystery. The trailer shows us a side of Pilate we've never seen before. Torn, uncertain, even afraid. His wife warns him a servant whispers rumors of miracles, and still the crowd chants for crucifixion. Pilate tries to pass the burden, sends Jesus to Herod. But even Herod mocks and returns him. No one wants to carry the guilt. No one wants the blood on their hands. But someone will. And as Jesus is paraded back and forth like a criminal, no one knows what to do with it. Becomes clear truth doesn't matter. Only control does, only survival. Meanwhile, in the shadows, the disciples gather in whispers. The trailer hints at one final meal, one last night of shared bread and broken hearts. They remember his words now about betrayal, denial, and death. But It all seemed so distant before. Now it's real. Now it's happening, and no one feels that more than Peter. His denial is coming 3 times, just as Jesus said, and the pain of that prophecy will rip through him like nothing else ever has. We see it building in his eyes in his panic, in his desperate attempts to stay close but out of sight. And when the rooster crows, the silence will be deafening. Then there's Mary, not just the mother of Jesus, but Mary Magdalene too. The trailer captures their anguish, their helplessness, their unspoken grief. These women who stood beside him when others fled now face the unbearable truth that the man who saved them is being sentenced to die. But they don't turn away. They won't, because their love is stronger than their fear. And in their presence, we find something that refuses to break, unwavering devotion. But perhaps the most chilling moment in the trailer comes from Judas, his return, not to make amends, but to face the crushing weight of what he's done. The silver still clinks in his purse. His eyes avoid the temple. He is a man already lost, already dead inside. And yet we pity him, because The Chosen doesn't portray Judas as a monster. It shows him as a man who believed, who doubted, who made one wrong choice too many, and now has no way back. His story isn't just about betrayal. It's about the horror of realizing too late that you've betrayed the only good thing in your life. As the trial spirals into madness, the pressure grows. The crowds are no longer questioning. They are shouting, demanding crucify him. And in the chaos, we see Barabbas, angry, violent, and suddenly free, while Jesus, the innocent, is condemned. That's the world flipped upside down. That's injustice. And yet that's exactly how it was meant to happen. Season 6 doesn't soften the blow, it leans into it. Because it's not just about telling us what happened, it's about making us feel it. The weight, the loss, the heartbreak. And in that heartbreak, something begins to shift. Not hope, not yet, but something deeper. A realization that the worst moment in history might also become the most important one. That the end is only the beginning. And now we approach the cross. The final moments in The Chosen season. 6 are not just emotional. They are earth-shattering. The trailer gives only glimpses, but those glimpses are enough. A crown of thorns pressed into his scalp, a heavy beam dragged through the dust. Roman soldiers barking orders while the crowd, some weeping, some jeering, lines the path to Golgotha. And in the center of it all, Jesus broken, beaten, bleeding, and yet still walking, still choosing the road no one else would, because this wasn't something done to him. This was something he chose. That's the unthinkable truth Season 6 will force us to face, that he could have stopped it all, but he didn't. The crucifixion won't be a scene, it will be a reckoning, for the disciples, for the world, for us. As the nails are driven in, we're not just witnessing an execution. We're watching the weight of every failure, every betrayal, every sin being carried by a man who never committed a single one. And the silence from heaven, that's the most deafening part, because in that moment it will feel like even God has turned away. The sky will darken, the ground will shake. But the pain isn't just physical, it's spiritual. Jesus isn't just dying, he's being forsaken, so that no one else ever has to be. And the disciples, scattered, confused. Some are hiding, some are watching from a distance. John stays close. Mary weeps at the foot of the cross. Peter is nowhere to be found. The shame of his denial still burns in his soul. Thomas, who always doubted now, has nothing left to believe in. Their world is crumbling. Their Messiah is dying, and they don't understand why. All their hopes, all their promises seem to be bleeding out on that hill. And as Jesus speaks his final words, "It is finished," they don't yet see what's really happening. They think it's over, but it's not even close. And Judas, his story ends in silence. The trailer doesn't show it, but we know what's coming. The unbearable weight of regret. The silver thrown back. The lonely, hopeless end. The Chosen won't glorify it, but it won't ignore it either. Because Judas matters. His fall matters. And in a strange, painful way, his failure reminds us just how high the cost of love really is. What The Chosen Season 6 promises isn't comfort, it's truth. It's heartbreak. But in that heartbreak, something else starts to take root. Because after the darkness comes dawn, after death, resurrection. But we're not there yet. First, the body is taken down, wrapped in cloth, laid in a tomb, a stone rolled into place, and then silence. Cold, heavy, terrifying silence. The kind that makes you question everything. The kind that makes you wonder if he really was who he said he was. But even in that silence, something is stirring. Season 6 will end not with resolution, but with suspense, with grief, with uncertainty, but also with a whisper of hope. Because the story is not over. It never was. And as we stand at the edge of the darkest chapter in history, The Chosen dares us to look ahead, to believe, to wait. Because resurrection is coming, and when it does, nothing will ever be the same again. This is The Chosen Season 6. And it's closer than you think.